Jai Mahamaya ki jai, Bole Baba ki jai. We're at chapter 37, and that's more about describing the various hells and their sizes. So we'll move on to chapter 38 and read excerpts of this lovely chapter. Savitri said, O Lord, give me the devotion to the Devi, to that Adya Shakti Bhagavati Mahamaya Parameshwari Mai, that is the essence of all essences, the door of final liberation to the human beings and the cause of delivering them from hells. That is the root of all dharmas that lead to mukti, that destroy all the inauspiciousness, that takes away the fear of all the karmas, and that take away always all the sins committed before. O thou, the foremost amongst the knowers of the Vedas, how many kinds of muktis are there in this world? What is the true bhakti? What are its characteristics, and what is to be done by which the enjoyment of the karmas done can be desisted and nullified? O Bhagavan, the womankind has been created by the Creator as somewhat devoid of any tattva yanams, or true knowledge. Now tell me something about the true knowledge. All the charity, sacrifices, bathing in the sacred places of pilgrimages, observing vows, and austerities cannot be compared with 1/16 of imparting knowledge to those who are ignorant. Mother is 100 times superior to father, that is certain, but the spiritual teacher, the giver of true knowledge, is 100 times more to be revered and worshipped than the mother even, O Lord. O Dharma Raja said, O child, what boons you desired of me before, I have granted them to you. Now I grant this boon to you, that let the devotion towards the Shakti now arise in your mind. O auspicious one, you want to hear the reciting of the glories of the Sri Devi. By this, both he who puts forth the question and he who hears the answers, all their families are delivered. When the Sheshnag Ananta Deva, with his 1,000 mouths, is unable to recite the glories of the Devi, when Mahadev cannot describe with his 5 mouths, when the Creator Brahma is incapable to recite her glories with his 4 mouths, when Vishnu the omniscient falls back, when Kartikeya with his 6 mouths cannot sufficiently describe, when Ganesh the Guru of the Gurus of the greatest yogis is incapable, when the Pandits, the knower of the Vedas, are incapable, the essence of all the Suras cannot know even a bit of her, whose lotus feet, then how can I recite fully the glories of her whose lotus feet Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, and other meditate, O Lo? When it becomes difficult for her devotees even to think of her, then what wonder is there that she will be so very rare to others? Brahma, skilled in the knowledge of the Vedas, knows more of her than what other ordinary persons know, to so little of her auspicious glories. More than Brahma, Ganesh, the Guru of the Yamans, know. Again, Shambhu, the omniscient, known the best of all, for in ancient times the knowledge of Prakriti Devi was given to him by the highest spirit in a solitary place. Mahadeva then gave it to Dharma in the Shivaloka. Dharma again gave the Prakriti mantra to my father. My father became successful in the worship of the Prakriti Devi when he practiced austerities. Of old, the Devas wanted to offer to me the government of the Yamaloka, but as I was very dispassionate toward the world, I became unwilling and became ready to perform austerities. Then my father told the glories of the Prakriti Devi herself, known not her own of Prakriti Devi. Herself knows not her own glories. Then what can be said of any other person on this? She is the self of all, endowed with all powers and lordship, the cause of all causes, the Lord of all, origin of all, and the possessor of all. She is eternal, always with her cosmic body, full of everlasting bliss, without any special form, unrestrained, having no fear, without any disease and decay, unattached, the witness of all, the refuge of all. And higher than highest, she is with Maya, and she is Mula Prakriti, the objects created by her being known as a Prakritic creation, who remains in the Prakriti and Purusha inseparable from each other, and Agni and her burning force, like Agni and burning force. The Mahamaya of the nature of everlasting existence, intelligence, and bliss. Though formless, she assumes forms for the gratification of the desires of her bhaktas. O child, I have through her, it is through her that the Creator is doing his work of creation of this universe, and it is recording the parabha fruits of their karmas. It is through her that Vishnu is awarding the fruits of tapas and preserving the universe. By her command, the Kala, Agni, Rudra, Deva is destroying all, by whose favor Shiva has become Mrityunjaya, the conqueror of death, and the foremost of the honest, knowing whom Shiva has become himself, endowed with knowledge, and the Lord of the knowers of knowledge, full of the highest bliss, devotion, and dispassion. Through her, the wind becomes the foremost of runners and carries things. The sun gives heat. Indra gives rain. Yama destroys. Agni burns. And water cools all things. By whose command the regents of the 10 quarters of the sky are watching and preserving nice order, through who the planets are describing their several orbits. Through her, trees flower and yield fruit, by whose command the Kala destroys all, by whose command all the beings, whether on land or in water, are quitting their lives in time until the proper time comes. No man does not die, even if he be pierced, whether in battle or in danger. By whose command the wind supports the water supports the tortoise supports the Ananta, and the Ananta supports the earth supports the ocean, mountains, and all the jewels. The earth is of the nature of forgiveness and endures all. For this reason, all things moving and non-moving rest on her, and again melt away in her 71 divine yugas, constitute one Indra's life period. 28 Indra's life period constitute Brahma's one day and one night. Thus 100 years constitute Brahma's life. When Brahma dies, Sri Hari closes his eyes. That is the Prakrit Pralaya. At this time, everything moving and non-moving, from the Deva Loka to Bhur Loka, dies. The creative Brahma gets dissolved in the navel of Sri Krishna. The four-armed Vishnu of Vaikuntha sleeps on the ocean of milk. All the other Shakti's forces dissolve in the Mula Prakriti, the Maya of Vishnu. The Mula Prakriti Durga, the presiding deity of Bhuti, dissolves in the Bhuti of the Most High. Skanda, the part of Narayana, dissolves in his breast. Ganesh, the foremost of the Devas, born in part, dissolves into the arms of Krishna, and those who are born in parts of Padma dissolve into her body, and Padma dissolves in the body of Radha. All the cow herdesses and all the bodies of the Devas dissolve in Radha's body. O child, he is Krishna, on the pores of whose skin are situated endless universes, at the closing of whose eyes the Prakrit Pralaya comes on, and the opening of whose eyes the creation takes place. The closing and opening of the eyes takes the same time. Brahma's creation lasts 100 years, and the Pralaya lasts 100 years. One of good vows, there is no counting how many Brahmas or how many creations and dissolutions have taken place. As one cannot count the numbers of dust, so one cannot count the creations and dissolutions. This is the great unspeakable wonder. Again, on whose closing of the eyes the pralaya takes place, and on whose opening of the eyes the creation takes place, out of the will of God. This highest Shakti, the Mula Prakriti, is the only one without a second. It is the only one, Nirguna, and the highest Purusha. It is considered as Sat, existing by the seers of the Vedas. Such a thing as Mula Prakriti is the unchanging state, Mukti. During the Pralaya, this only one, Mula Prakriti, appears as Jnana Sakti, or the knowledge force. Who can in this universe recite her glories? Mukti is of three kinds: Salyakya, Sarupya, Samipya, and Nirvana. So it is stated in the Vedas. Out of them, bhakti towards the Deva is the highest, so much so that the Deva bhakti is superior to mukti. Mukti gives Salyakya and Sarupya. Samipya and Nirvana. But the bhaktas do not want anything. They want service to the Lord. They do not want anything else. The state of becoming Shiva, or becoming an Amara or an immortal, becoming a Brahma, the birth, death, disease, old age, fear, sorrow, or wealth, or assuming a divine form, or nirvana, or moksha, all are looked on alike by the bhaktas with disregard and contempt. Because mukti is without any services, while bhakti increases the service. Thus I have told you the difference between bhakti and mukti. Now hear about the cutting off of the fruits of the past karmas. O chaste one, this service is really the true knowledge. So, O child, I have now told you the real truth leading to the auspicious results. Now you can go freely to as you desire. Thus saying to Savitri, Yama, the son of Surya, gave back life to her husband, and blessing her, became ready to go to his own abode. Seeing Dharmaraja ready to go away, Savitri became sorry to have the bereavement of a good company. Leaving, she bowed at his feet and began to cry. Yama, the ocean of mercy, hearing the crying of Savitri, began to weep and told the following words. Dharma said, O child, you enjoy in this holy Bharata happiness for 1 lakh year, and you will go to the Devi Loka or Manidvipa. Now go back to your house and observe for 14 years the vow called Savitri Vratra for the mukti of women. This Vratra is to be observed on the 14th day of the white fortnight in the month of Jyesta. Then observe the Mahalakshmi Vratra. Its proper time is the 8th day of the bright fortnight of the month of Bhadra. From 16 years consecutively, without any break, this vow is to be observed. The woman who practices with devotion this vow goes to the abode of Mula Prakriti. You would worship on every Tuesday in every month of the Devi Mandala Chandika and giver of all gods. And you should observe fasting on the 8th day in the bright fortnight and worship the Vishnu Maya Bhagavati Devi, the destructress of the difficulties and dangers. The chaste woman, having husband and sons, who worships the world mother Mula Prakriti, whether in yantra or mantra or image, enjoys all pleasures in this world, and in the end goes to the Devi Loka or Manidvipa. O child, the worshipper, one who is one's way to success, must worship at the manifestations of the Devi day and night at all times. One must worship the omniscient Durga, the highest Ishvari. There is no other way to attain blessedness than this. Thus saying, Dharmaraja went to his own abode. Savitri too went with her husband Satyavan and went to her home. Both Savitri and Satyavana, when they reached home, narrated all their stories to their friends and acquaintances. In time, by the blessing of Yama, Savitri's father godsons and father-in-law recovered his eyesight, and kingdoms, and Savitri, herself got sons. For 1 lakh years, Savitri enjoyed pleasures in this holy land of Bharata and ultimately went with her husband to the Devi Lokas. Savitri is the presiding deity of the Surya Mandalam, the solar orb. The sun is the central Parabrahma. The Gayatri mantra, the presiding Devi, proves the existence of the highest Brahman in the center of the sun. Therefore, she is called Savitri, or her name is Savitri because all the Vedas have come out of her. Thus I have narrated the excellent antidote of Savitri and the fruitions of the karmas of the several jivas. Now what more would you like to hear? Say. Here ends the 38th chapter in the 9th book on the glories of the Devi and on the nature of bhakti in the Mahapuranam Srimad Devi Bhagavatam of 18,000 verses by Maharishi Veda Vyasa. Jai Mahamaya ki jai, Vishveshwari Mata ki jai, Bole Baba ki jai.